Hello and welcome to MotorCult episode 23. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by Ryan Snitsky. Hello, sir. Welcome back to the studio. I'm glad we're not doing this in the cold,
What
rainy
is with
grounds
this line?
Oh, sorry. For the audio listeners, Ryan normally says, well, hello there, but he's watching the 24 Hours of Le Mans stream, which is on the TV in the studio. So I'll say hello back for him. And then we're also joined by a guest this week, Randy Stern of Victory and Reseda. Hello.
Hey, Randy.
Hello, how are you? And I'm also watching Le Mans.
Well, that's just fine. There's a reason why it's streaming. We didn't do it for no reason.
Two different screens within our viewing range.
Yeah, I dropped the brightness on both the displays so the streaming audience can watch as well if they get bored with us, which is probably going to happen.
Yes.
And also, I'm wearing the Pusheen shirt just for the listeners of last week's episode if they didn't know what we were talking about.
I'm wearing a Renault shirt.
And the joke is it says 1, 2, 3, 4 in French, and it's a Renault 5 below it. Oh, wow, we're cool. All right, moving right on to beer.
Yes, all right.
Ryan, what are we drinking this week?
We are drinking Summit Maybach. It is a blonde Bach.
I'm also a blonde Bach.
Summit is typically a brewery that I have very little love for.
Yeah, I'm kind of perturbed by that, but I understand.
Well, I mean, everything they do, it's like, how do we add more flavor? More hops! And
yeah,
it's just
no,
like,
I agree with you. I'm
that's
not really
all
a
they ever
hoppy
do.
beer fan, and like there's a lot of Summit beers I don't really like drinking.
Yeah,
But they have a couple that are really good. Like I had a Summit Weiss beer at Stouts in Roseville on Friday, and it was really good.
My thing is, I had a porter from them.
Yeah.
Porters, which are notoriously
Not
malty.
hoppy.
Yeah. They added flavor to it.
Hops?
Additional hops.
Interesting.
It's like somebody that's never had beer before decides to make beer. But I mean,
No, it's like a bro is brewing all these different things.
Probably. I do see a lot of bros. Like Summit's the the beer you go to in Minnesota to say, oh man, I love craft beer. It's like barely a craft brewery.
I saw something on Facebook just before I went to sleep last night in my newsfeed. It was IPAs are the pumpkin spice lattes of bros.
It's true.
I chimed in saying false, that pumpkin spice lattes were the pumpkin spice lattes of bros. But anyway, let's see how that thing
crack
sounds.
it open and see it doesn't taste like shit.
Sounded good.
Sounds fine. Again,
It's
there's
good, but I can
more
taste some hop
hops
in there.
Why are there hops in this?
I don't know.
It is a blonde Doppelbock. This is supposed to be like not hoppy.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
supposed
get
to be
it.
smoother than it is. It's got a little bit of that effervescent bite to the back.
Well, there is our second beer where actually probably the first one I like outwardly dislike. So
Okay.
second beer I'm not okay with because that cherry tart one that Aaron brought the first time he was
sour?
here. Oh, it was
That
horrible.
was fine. I like that one. Wasn't happy. What are you drinking, Randy?
Actually, I'm drinking non-alcoholic stuff because I'm trying to stay sober for as much as possible.
That's fine.
Although I did break my
Yeah.
own rule.
Well, I want your review of Coca-Cola Zero.
Coca-Cola
Yeah,
Zero.
look,
yeah,
it's
how's it taste?
Coca-Cola without the salt. That's probably
It's
the best way
pronounced
to
electrolyte.
Salt.
Randy.
Honestly, though,
you mean sugar.
it's how I feel that Diet Coke tastes. So I went with Coke Zero because it tastes more like regular Coke without all the sugar and calories and all
I
that
got you.
stuff.
Coke Zero is tolerable. Diet Coke is not.
Exactly. So, but if I do drink beer on rare occasion, definitely I'm a Grain Belt guy, so I like my Grain Belt Premium.
I was going to say premium and Northeast.
and Northeast,
Okay.
exactly.
Both.
And
It's a good go-to beer.
Those
yeah.
are excellent drinkable
but you
beers.
see, my go-to is actually Stella. So, however, I did have
Stella's
Stroh's
good.
last week in Detroit.
Mm.
Never again.
What'd you have?
Stroh's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Stroh's, for those of you who don't know, Stroh's was this beer that was sold in the 80s. That was a big deal. Fire brewed, City of Detroit beer, sold cross country, and then all of a sudden no
You
longer.
lost me at Fire Brewed.
Yeah, exactly. So I was at an event in Detroit last week and figured, oh, yeah, well, the beers are free, right? Sure.
Open bar, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, do you have any Stella? No, we only have Detroit beers. And it's all these Detroit microbrews and everything.
That
So-
sounds
So it's
great.
full of lead impregnated drinking water.
It actually sounds
and microplastics.
pretty decent.
Well, I'm not an adventurous sort, so I don't want to start going down that abyss. I'm not
Ironic for your job.
exactly, which is crazy because I'm not Bobby Fluke. But
Well, for your job, perhaps we should segue into
Yeah,
the first set of
Oh
questions.
yeah, that thing.
So,
yeah.
Randy, let's start off with who you are and then what Victory and Reseda is.
Well, I am an automotive journalist, blogger, photographer, whatever you want to call me these days. Victor and Reseda is my.
I call you Randy.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
My baby is Victory and Reseda, which is randystern.net. That's RANDYSTERN.net. And
I was wondering how you spelled net.
I was really wondering on the net. Like, I knew the Randy Stern part, but I'm glad you... Okay,
you
cool.
know, there might be some people listening that may not know how to spell it.
Nah, Piss
Net.
Jugs doesn't know how to get to this.
N-A-T. Damn it! How can I get to this website?
So it's my baby. It's my website. It's where most of my content comes. I dabble with history, car reviews when I get a chance. Some industry stuff, commentary. I also have a couple of columns. I have a radio column, which means I talk about the state of what's a radio, because radio is now an integral part
dying
of
breed.
the automobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, true, but there's still a lot of good.
This is the
programming to
wave
talk
of the
about.
future, Randy, the podcast.
Yes, as long as you have
The wave
Apple
of the future
CarPlay.
from 10 years ago.
Yeah. Like
Is-
2002 or
Yeah.
whenever they came out early.
As long as you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and use your podcast app, you're good.
Well, you can also find us on SoundCloud, which is where I host this, and YouTube.
That
as
is
well
true.
as the Podcast Addict app. So.
This is very true.
Oh no, stream unavailable due to policy violations. You guys keep talking. I'm going to find a new stream for the iPad.
Ooh,
That sucks.
we're in trouble.
Well, anyway, so Randy, I've never seen you in the same car twice. What are you driving? What do you drive?
I do not own a vehicle because of A, where I live, which is pretty close to next to the city of Minneapolis. B, I drive whatever the manufacturers drop off at the front door. I'm not being arrogant, but that's usually how it is these days. I find myself that I'm not a good car owner.
Okay.
So,
Fair.
And also the cost of owning a car these days, especially cars that I really would like to own, that's out of my pocket. So
That's part of why I got into being into weird old cars, because they're affordable, insurance is cheap, and as long as you don't total the car out, you're fine. Because if you total it out, you're not going to get anything for it.
Yep.
which
Oh,
will
I rolled the
probably-
dice on a lot of cars with like no comprehensive or collision. I'm like, well, I really hope nothing happens.
This is true.
Opposite
this
of the
is very
electric
true.
Fiat, where I chase hailstorms.
No, this is very true.
Well, that's
So-
cool. So, what are you driving right now? Then you mentioned you don't own a vehicle, but I saw you pull up in something that's actually kind of interesting to me.
It is interesting. It's a 2018 Chevrolet Cruze, diesel hatch, and and if you put it all together, I think the diesel part pops out the most because it's Chevrolet and General Motors committing to diesel.
That's actually really cool. It's really probably the most European car you can get.
Yeah,
Ironically,
it's a
not
hatch
coming
and a
from
diesel.
Europe. Yeah.
I don't suppose they offer it in a manual, but
Yes, they do offer it in a manual.
I
As a
would
matter-
buy that.
Yes, they offer the diesel in both a
That's-
manual and automatic.
That might be the greatest decision GM has made.
that might be the
since
best
the
GM
Malaise.
product since, well, except for the Corvette, but maybe.
I would
Corvette.
put that over the Corvette. 'Cause the Corvette's not
I
that
think
great
I'd rather have a diesel manual cruise hatch than a.
than a Corvette. I
Corvette.
would. That
If
would
I'm
be,
paying my own
that
money.
that is my favorite General Motors product now, because
That's super cool.
well, no, my stance to the Corvette is it's a perfectly fine car, but I
Yep.
want to get it for as cheap as possible.
Right. No, I mean you
Yeah.
have to factor cost into the equation.
And it's the same reason why I say the Mirage is the best Mitsubishi,
I'm inclined to agree after
because
after
it's
driving that one.
yeah, it's the cost benefit analysis. It's like, do you want the worst car that you can get for your money,
Mhm.
or do you want the most car you can get? The worst or the most, basically.
And I bet the residual, like percentage wise, is going to be better on the Cruise
Probably.
diesel hatch manual than it will be on the Corvette.
I want that now. How does it drive?
It actually drives pretty good. There's a lot of torque, so there's 240 pound-feet of torque, which you definitely
Yes.
feel it. And
That's a lot for that small of a car.
it is very a lot. But keep in mind, a diesel is actually a Fiat diesel, which they've been
Excellent.
Oh, really?
which is no. The thing is that General Motors used to have a 20% share in Fiat Spa before Fiat Chrysler happened and before
Is
the
that,
global financial crisis.
Is the engine in that the same as the first gen Cruise diesel?
As a matter of fact, it's an improvement from the first gen.
Is it a 1.9?
1.6?
1.6. Okay. Is it a
Turbo.
JTD? The Fiat engine?
No, actually, it's not a JTD. I'm going to say no because
I'm going to go look at that after this episode's done. 'Cause that's
Yeah, I'm
very
very
interesting.
curious too.
I think you should actually, except the panel up top of it says Ecotech will throw you off.
Well, I'm going to pull that off.
Well, they always put
Look underneath
Ecotech
it.
on anything.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
I'm
Yay,
pretty sure.
branding.
I'm pretty sure there's a tugboat somewhere in Detroit that says Ecotech on it.
Oh, God.
With it's like V20 diesel.
So eco, bro.
It's right outside the Winter Garden of Rensen. There you go.
So Randy, what's interesting about you is you kind of come from a normal guy perspective, looking at cars.
Mm-hmm.
That like a normal guy that happens to be interested in cars to a degree. You're not. What I'm trying to say is you're not the sort of guy is like bicep deep in engine grease every weekend and drifting. How did you get into your position as automotive reviewer?
I come from a riding background, but I've
Okay.
also been interested in cars since I was like, I
That
don't
tall.
know. I don't think I was that tall ever, but
Your poor mother.
my poor mother exactly, and she's dead. Anyway,
That's pretty morbid.
Did it have something?
Everyone look at the happy kitty.
Did it have something to do with a 45-pound baby that she pumped out?
Did she die at birth?
no, she didn't die at birth, and I was probably about 8 pounds or something like that. I don't remember, but
That's a big baby.
I was a big baby.
You're
and I
like
was
a half
big,
a Modi.
I was a big kid, but let's not.
How heavy was your brother's baby?
7 pounds 6 ounces.
Wow.
Wow.
She was
Anywho.
more than full term too. She just arrived in the world last Friday, so
Yay.
Yay.
All right.
yeah.
Way to go, Scott.
That was some.
When you mentioned the beer Stella, I'm like, oh, that's my niece's name.
Is her middle name Artois?
No, it's May. Anyway, so okay, yeah, you were already kind of touching on how you got into the journalism background, but you were interested in cars. You were presumably around them a bit.
A lot, because I was a kid. I was one of those kids who can remember the car that my dad had before he traded in for a new '67 Impala, which was a '65 Plymouth Satellite. And I don't know how in the hell I figured out it was a '65 Plymouth Satellite when you're like 2-3 years old.
Is that why you like the '66 Chevy sedan
That's a
behind
'67.
Yeah, it's a 67. It's got the different taillights.
you? Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
They
mean,
changed
I'll
it-
take your word for
They
it. I have no
change the
idea.
taillights every year.
Well, I
And-
know.
Well, they changed everything every year.
Well, no, I mean for like 67,
the
66,
67
67,
Chevy.
68 Impala is like the big thing that changed were the taillights.
Oh yeah.
I'm
It-
bored by that then. Randy, what are your favorite local events in the show shows throughout
As
the
we're
year?
moving along the agenda, I don't have a favorite because the fact
Oh,
is
you got to be able to pick favorites.
I can't.
You
I really can't because I know a lot of great people in the car community. Also, not know anyway. But I love going to a variety of car events. If there's a favorite, it's not in the Twin Cities. And it happened last weekend in Detroit. Wish I was there. It's the Chrysler Employee Motorsports Association.
Brian, did I
show.
invite Randy or did you? Because
you
he's
did?
talking about I'm sorry.
non-Twin City stuff?
Non-Minnesota
well,
stuff.
it's fine because there's people outside the Twin Cities that listen.
There
But I
will
asked what his
be.
favorite local events or shows were, and he
Well,
goes to
You know,
Michigan.
well, relatively speaking to Mars, I mean, he's got it. It's
what
it's
are
not
your
in Uganda.
favorite Minnesota-based shows and events throughout the year?
Whoa, now that we've concentrated on Minnesota,
Yes.
I don't have really one favorite that stands out because I enjoy most of them.
All right, Ryan, you do the basic.
What's
questions
your
for him
least
then.
favorite? How about that?
You see,
Is it Cars and Coffee?
I can't answer that question.
It's Cars and Coffee.
I can't.
Okay,
no.
thank you.
All right, Ryan. Number 4 and 5.
All right, I will. So number 4. This is our first question. There is a correct answer to this, but I want your honest answer.
More importantly, there's an incorrect answer to this.
Yes.
There is
Fast car slow or slow car fast?
always a slow car fast.
Finally, you redeemed yourself.
I
a bit.
honestly thought that you were gonna say fast car slow.
Ugh.
I was
The
hyped
first time
all
we get
week.
that, I don't know what's going to happen.
I think we'll just like not have a guest for the rest of it, or
Probably.
we'll spend the next hour
No.
making fun of that person.
No, you always
We can do that.
drive a slow car fast so you could push the limit of
Push
the
it to the
engine
limit.
and everything.
All right, question 5.
All right, so question 5. I'm gonna taste up my beer and then I'll go into it.
Okay.
Brandy is actually the first one that has been primed on this
Ah,
question.
yeah, I know. We
beforehand.
shouldn't have done that.
I know.
Well, actually, no, I did not give him specifics.
listen
just
to
told
other
him.
podcasts.
I told him that. Okay, so I guess any one of our
Well, I mean, I guess thank you for listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
but
we
also,
don't go out of our way to tell people,
Right.
you
You're
know,
welcome.
ahead of time. So Mondial Challenge, you listen to it. Berger was offered a 86,
84.
84. I'm sorry, 84 Freud Mondial hardtop.
Yep.
It was a Quattrovalvole
Yes.
V8. It's transverse mounted, makes about 240 to 260 horsepower, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yes.
Car did not have an engine in it
Or transmission.
or a transmission. Yes, it is too cheap of a car to get the correct engine and transmission because that's a very sought after engine and transmission, but a very not sought after chassis.
Yes.
What
Clearly it became a parts car for a 308.
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, the car is perfect. And
Yeah, it
it'd
was
be a
pretty
great.
nice.
It'd be a great driver. But what would you put into it to make it a driver? Of course, you yourself would be probably paying somebody to do it, which is not a big deal. There are things that I don't do on my car either. Body work and exhaust work, namely. I want to have to put some bolts together. But anyway, it has to be transverse, mounted, pointing between the axles
Yep.
instead of pointing front to back.
Yep.
And it has to be with a manual transmission. And
You
if
can't
it's
cut sheet metal.
and you cannot cut sheet metal, and if it's automatic, you fail. So
Yeah, we're not going to accept it.
we're not going to accept an automatic transmission. And I know you have the most experience with manuals. Assume you've already learned how to drive this particular manual.
Well, here's the thing: is that first of all, I gotta disagree about the whole you cannot put another Ferrari because
No, you can, just not that one, because that one it's a car.
expensive.
oh really?
No,
Okay.
that's a car that's worth about like
It was listed
20
for
to
$6.5 grand.
It's
so
$6.5 grand.
Yes.
It was
that-
worth probably 35 or 40 with the motor.
Yeah, as I say, like 35, and that engine alone is worth
that
40.
much. Yeah.
See, the purest part of me says I'm going to break that rule and drop in the actual engine that's supposed to go in that car.
Not allowed.
But it's not allowed.
Mhm.
So I have several
We're
options.
trying to cover all the bases here. We really
Yeah, I
are.
know. No. You guys made it's a very good challenge, by the way. And for those of you who don't know about engines and transmissions and how things put together in
We have a pretty smart constituency. I think they all
Yeah.
know.
I'm trying to talk to the readers, the viewers, the listeners that I'm going to bring in for this one.
Okay.
Oh, all
Okay,
right.
so
I'll
because
back the shit off then.
no, never mind. No, this one's a tough one because I've been thinking about this and I'm going. The only engine that would be logical for this
Is a Cruise diesel JTD with the manual?
That'd actually
wrong,
be kind of cool. Swap.
Kimasabi.
That'd be a really cool swap.
That would be a really cool swap, except for one thing.
What?
The Mondial is a 2+2
Yep.
supercar.
It-
Sort
Grand
of,
Tourer,
kind
we'll
of,
call it.
sort of, kind
It's
of.
a
All right,
Ferrari.
it's a supercar, but the thing is it makes 240 horsepower.
Which
I'm
in
reading-
1984 was a
mind-blowing.
whole bunch.
But today is totally attainable. Any engine ever.
Yeah.
But you see, this is where I'm getting at. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
We will.
Is the Acura NSX V6 the first gen transversely mounted?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Both of them were.
The
The 3.2 and the
C32.
3.2.
You see, here's what I would do: is I would get a first gen NSX driveline with the manual and pop it in. Why? Because A, transversely mounted. B, there's plenty of room
And
in
you're
it.
gonna make the same amount of power, actually more, 280.
Exactly.
So
That's
a good answer.
That is not an answer I expected out of you, Randy. That's an excellent answer.
I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting like a 3.5 V6 out of like a Malibu.
Probably be a 3.6.
There's one rule you should impose on this: never put an American driveline in a Ferrari.
Oh, Nick Johannes will fight you.
I know he will.
Okay.
I mean, that's fine.
And
I
shout
think
out
he's
to
the only one
Nick.
to give the LS the light of day, though.
Yeah, well, because we basically yell at everybody, and he just
Yeah.
got through the yelling, and we
Yeah.
just let him deal with it. Because I think I was very
Plus,
hot.
he
or something.
donated the webcam for the streaming.
Yes, he did. So
Yeah,
he
he
was
did.
allowed. You know, if you make a donation, you can say something stupid.
Right.
I think he's going to donate a second one, too, so we can actually get a better image
Well,
of the
But
display.
shout out to Nick and shout out to Braunschweig. They're a really good group of guys anyway. So I'm glad to have Victory and Receipt on the flanks of their car as well.
Good.
Well, we'll go with that as a correct answer. A
So-
C30 would be cool.
We were gonna have Tucker on this time, but Tucker has
He
the
could
worst
do it,
schedule.
and then he couldn't do it, and then we were trying to schedule him at Brainerd, and then I was going to go up a little late to Brainerd to squeeze him in beforehand, and he still couldn't do it. So
it was a nightmare. So
anyway, yeah, it's
we were gonna have 2 LGBT presenters on for Pride Week coming up.
we were trying.
Trying to, so we didn't do that.
Well, at least we got Randy.
Yes, we do. Randy, you have written for Lavender, which is kind of cool.
I still am actually
still
at this
do?
time.
Okay.
Nice.
At this time.
No, I have read your writing for them. It's actually.
I was gonna say we only talked about Victor and Reseda. Feel free to
plug everything else that you do.
So the regional LGBT magazine that's based in Edina is called Lavender Magazine. It's
It's from Edina?
It's actually now headquartered in Edina.
Cool.
That's really cool and super ironic because Edina is not a progressive city, really.
Oh,
No.
it kind of is.
All right, so when you think of Edina, you think
I think new money.
I think of old white people driving
no.
Lincolns.
There's only a couple streets in Edina where there's you're talking Interlaken and Rolling Green.
That's what I was
Everything
thinking
else
of.
is pretty young, more or less progressive people. I feel like.
Well, then you have like Blake Road, where you just have like middle class Republicans. So
I just avoid Blake Road. Thank you.
yeah, exactly. It's a good driving road.
I still avoid.
it's all
I
about
find I'll
the
blow
lease.
through there at double the speed limit allegedly.
That's exactly what I do. Edina's got probably some of the best driving roads in the Southwest Metro.
They're very well cared for roads typically.
They're well cared for. They got a lot of corners. It's fun to hoon around, and you don't feel guilty because you're just ruining the bourgeois day.
Yes.
And don't forget the Edina police. But anyway.
Well, there's too many
Shout
corners.
out to Ricky Har.
Yeah, hey, Ricky R's in the
Yeah.
EPD.
Yeah.
Hi, Ricky.
I hope if I ever get pulled over by anyone in Edina, it's
Isn't David Knorr a police officer too?
yeah, he works for Metro Transit. He
Oh,
actually,
God.
I met him for the first time again like 3 weeks ago, and he dropped off a set of wheels and tires.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
Because he
It's
looks
good
like
to see
Uncle
him.
Fester
I don't even know who that is.
from the Addams Family.
Okay,
The big. You never saw the Addams
I
Family?
sure did, but it was like '94 last time I saw it. Like,
You know the big spooky looking uncle, the bald guy?
yeah,
Yeah, that guy looks like David Knorr.
maybe similarly shaped, but isn't he bald?
Yeah, but he's got the same like dark eyes and like.
Yeah, but like
the
David
same
has a lot of
face.
hair, so maybe he looks more like Randy.
No, he doesn't.
Wow.
Anyway, Randy, sorry for.
Yeah,
No,
you
no,
gotta
no, it's all
fight
good.
through our
Sorry
digression.
for the tangent. Anyway, so
I
so
love
you wrote
these tangents.
you
I'll
you
let
wrote
go
for
ahead.
you wrote for Lavender, or
I still
right
write.
for
I still write.
for Lavender, and yeah, just gonna tell us about some of the other places you
Yeah.
write for.
Well, the thing is that recently I've done some work for Car Soup, which I've done some work for in the past. It's been 4 years, but shout out to everybody at Cuneo and Car Soup. Hopefully, you all listening to this.
If not, they will soon, I'm sure.
They will. Hey, don't trust
Exactly.
me. It's like no, actually. But the thing is that I've done some other publications. Like I've done IC Cars. I've done Carfax's website, and I also do consulting for in the industry as well. So I do a lot of writing
Do
for that
you,
consultancy.
Do you do any columns on Ryan's most favorite area, which is autotrader.com/oversteer?
No, stop. We're not talking about that. Doug DeMiro can go die. If you're listening, Doug DeMiro, I hate you.
Don't worry, he won't.
I had to. I had to.
I hate Doug DeMiro so much.
No,
He's like piss jugs, but like a different person, like a grown-up adult piss jugs.
If you had a mole.
that's
with
perfect.
a big gross mole.
Wow, that is actually uncanny.
That's a perfect description.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Doug DeMiro is such a cocksucker. Anyway, it's God.
Speaking
I
of
was,
cocksuckers.
I was
If you want to come on the podcast and debate Ryan in person, I would love to have you on.
Fly him out from Philly. There you go.
He moved to SoCal.
Oh, he did.
yeah, of course he moved to SoCal.
You see how much I follow him, but
The only videos of him I watch now are on Thursday nights when Ryan's over.
If anybody can send us a video of them kicking Doug DeMiro in the balls, I will send you MotorCult swag personally.
Okay, if somebody can send me a video of you kicking piss jugs in the balls, I'll send you $100.
There you go.
There you go. And a MotorCult sticker.
We're not condoning violence.
Oh,
Please
yeah,
don't do
actually,
that.
no,
Yes,
I'm
we are
pretty sure I
doing
can't
that.
say
Do
that.
not- do not
definitely
actually
do
do
not
that.
kick him in the nuts for $100. Totally.
Because I feel like somebody would actually do that.
Probably.
It'd be really hilarious.
It's going to get expensive for me, actually. No, don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Anyway, so we're watching.
Le Mans.
We're watching Le Mans.
So are our lucky streamers.
Yeah, so are our lucky streamers.
Getting 2 streams in one
'cause
stream.
that one shut down. So all right, well, actually, what I'm interested about is Toyota set a fastest lap time for their class yesterday during practice. It's like a 3:16 or something, which is pretty quick. The thing is, that sounds really good for Toyota, and I really want this to be the year I'm always running for Toyota because they've never won. They've come super close. Like, they've come, like, to a point where they've led every lap in their class.
I like their old
And
GT1.
then, and then they crashed out, like, on the last lap. Or, like, last year, they had this perfect car, did the same thing, set the fastest lap time, made it, and then both cars simultaneously broke down for, like, 4 hours, like, left.
Great.
Just at the very end.
Right at the end.
Yeah, right at the very end. Whereas,
And
like,
I know those things are built super high strung and they last like the race sometimes.
yeah.
But sometimes
Or
not.
there was one where Toyota like just annihilated, or Toyota got annihilated by a Ferrari that understeered into them, ironically. But it's just like,
Was it powered by Audi?
probably, but they have like the worst luck with Le Mans, and I'm really, really, really rooting for them because I want them to. I really want them to win. Plus, you know how I can only imagine how apeshit everybody will go at Japanese nostalgia car on our Slack app, or just it just blow up. So
I'm actually agreeing with you guys because the fact that Toyota's due, and they've had some really good engineering with the Gazoo team. They had some really good drivers. The only thing is that the right now it's wide open up at the P1, so they have. I mean, it's theirs to win.
yeah.
up at the main podium, and the thing is that they have to watch their reliability. They also have to watch, what happens when you go overnight, because overnight's going to be the critical part. If you can get through overnight and go into the next morning, then you're pretty good. But then again, as we saw last year, they almost had it, and then poof, they lost it.
Well, what they need to do is put in their 2-liter twin VVTi Corolla coupe engine.
No.
Or just send the Corolla out as it is.
Perfect. Yeah, they will.
Corolla hatchback, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is. Yeah, thank you.
They
That
should
is
make a
important to
Corolla
mention.
coupe. Akido Toyota, if you're
Yeah,
listening,
I meant
please make a
hatchback.
Toyota Corolla coupe.
We won't buy it, but please make it.
Oh, I will buy it.
That's the part. Sorry, he will buy it used.
No, I will buy it new. It'll be
That's-
the only new car I buy.
So subprime though.
I don't care. So another thing that I also had noted was actually Mazda, the Miata.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you,
like-
do
that's
you want to
actually-
talk about that, or do you
Well,
want me to?
that's down at the end here.
Oh, okay. I just saw that the link was right below.
yeah, you
the-
had two
'cause
things in a row, so I
I'm
moved it
sorry.
down to the end.
So
That's fine.
Yeah, no.
But I'll talk about my topic here, which
Let's
is
talk about the Mazda later.
Yeah, we will.
Yes.
Oh, wow, foreshadowing.
Yes.
We're
It's a
going to
whole
talk
nother
about the
level.
ND later. Everyone should be very excited. I want to talk about classic cars. We've done this quite a few times, more or less just kind of speculating on. Did your not update?
No, my computer just decided I wanted to freeze.
Oh,
'cause
nice.
It's a brick.
Anyway, the pink laptop is doing whatever it's doing. We've talked about the EM1 and what we think is going to happen with the futures of collectability and all that kind of stuff. Right now, it's the stuff like 50s, 60s, 70s muscle cars. Those are kind of popular. Lots of weird niche German stuff has really taken off, but we're
Yeah.
all speculating that Japanese stuff is really going to be the next stuff to take off. And there's usually like an instigating car or set of cars that kind of kick off a movement like that.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that was for the American stuff like 10, 15 years ago, but for the
You
German
mean
stuff,
like
it's
making the muscle cars?
right.
I would probably say, well, I guess.
It's like Hemi Cudas and Camaros.
Well, we should say, because
and-
even 10, 15 years ago, American
Yeah.
muscle cars were still a thing. American muscle cars has
right.
been a
And they
thing
still
since like
kinda are,
the
but
90s.
They bubbled in like 2000.
Yeah, the mid 2000s. It was yeah, it really was like the convertible Hemi Cudas and like a lot of Mopar stuff.
Yeah.
The Copo Camaros, the really
Yep.
weird low production number.
Right,
The
the
thing
Yanko
is,
stuff too. Yeah.
you could just customize them so much. You could there are probably 10,000 one-off
Yeah.
American muscle cars that are one of one
Yeah.
because there was the only person to make that option
But I mean,
set.
they're usually built on something.
Yes.
So I mean, it's like the Tommy Kaira GTR that we talked about.
Yes.
It's an existing car that's been modified by a well-known, reputable thing. Blah, 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 yada,
Yeah,
more with more. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's kind of cool. But what I want to talk about is what are the gateway cars for like the next upcoming movement? Like we're seeing like the EM1, we're seeing like ITRs, GSRs, like in the Honda community, we're
Yeah.
seeing. Because I mean the German stuff, I feel like that's kind of
It's plateauing.
it's plateauing. I don't know if it's necessarily a bubble, maybe a little bit, but like it didn't like really peak and then just crash like the muscle car stuff did. It like quadrupled in price, and now it's settled just a little bit down from where it was.
It's much more German in how it bubbled.
Exactly, because the cars are actually still like pretty good.
Yeah,
to drive.
exactly.
So they're like, well, I bought this air-cooled 911 for $90,000, but it's
think-
actually pretty good.
Well, it kind of depends on what direction you go with your classic cars.
Yeah.
I think for somebody just getting into classic cars, a good gateway car to get them
Right,
into
I
it.
think that's kind of what we're talking about
yeah.
here, yeah.
So like a gateway car that's like
Something
attainable, that's reasonable to live with,
Yeah.
and will give you the classic car experience.
Yep.
I'm gonna say,
And, well, more importantly, gain you money over time.
although
or not
it's
lose you
although
money.
this is not at all anywhere near my top 500 favorite classic cars,
Damn.
a Volkswagen Type 1, actually,
Yeah.
because
That's probably
it's-
fair. If you can get one in
everything's
reasonable condition.
attainable for it, so you can actually own it. It's you're not gonna be like put off from the classic car ownership experience like
Yeah.
you would if you bought like a I don't know, like a Mercedes 190e.
Anything
Cosworth.
with CIS.
Yeah, exactly. They're cars that like people like they it's still sought after. People like when they think of a cool classic car, they think of a Type 1,
Yeah.
and they're maintainable. Like you can actually
Yeah.
work on them.
Oh, yeah. If you're gonna start wrenching, that's one of the best things you could possibly
Yeah,
wrench
it really is. I mean, that's a car where it's literally 3 hours to pull the engine out.
on, and you really can't fuck it up.
Yeah, you can't. It's really
And if
hard.
you do, whoops.
Yeah. Oh
no
no.
big
Let
deal.
me just go get a Volkswagen sedan from 1997 from Mexico.
Yep.
But the thing is they actually do have versions that are appreciating in value, so you can get all of that with a Type 1. I'm thinking not just your basic like oval window or split windows, but Hebmuller convertibles and stuff, which is a convertible coupe.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of really cool ones that like just we've never heard of
Right.
that have come out. What would you say is a good collector?
Well, I mean,
gateway?
normally I would just go back to German stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things I could speculate on potentially coming of value. I think the R129 SL,
As I
we're
say,
gonna see that pretty soon.
Mercedes is going to
the
be
89
a
to
big thing.
2002
Yeah.
SL, I think that's on its way up.
You know
I
what?
think we've seen the
The
bottom of that.
SEL also, but I want to talk more about that next
The
week.
W140,
The hairdresser car.
that's a 126. That's
126.
80s, yeah.
No.
I'm talking
no.
the
I'm
90s one.
talking the one from the early 2000s. Or not the SEL, the SLK.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the 320 SLK. I think that would be another one, but we'll talk more about that next
320.
week.
Not the 230 compressor.
I think the 320 because people just say, "Oh, big engine."
Yeah, we'll talk about that because I
Yeah.
have opinions on the M111 and the M112.
So we'll talk about that.
Interesting,
We'll talk
okay.
about that
But
next
going on
week, though.
going on Mercedes still. I think the 140s. I don't think we're gonna see those appreciate for another 7 to 10 years. They're really cool cars, but they made a shitload of them. I think the 1995 C36 AMG is
Yes.
going to explode in value.
That one's gonna,
The 500E is already in the stratosphere, so that's done.
yeah.
That was 92 to 95.
That was a Mercedes like
Oh, yeah.
E-Class
The Porsche
with a
design.
Porsche,
With a Porsche
V8.
engine,
Yeah.
yep. I remember
No, it was a
dealing with
Mercedes
one.
engine, Porsche brakes, and suspension.
Oh yeah.
And a terrible
beautiful
Mercedes 4-speed auto. The later, it's true. The later C43 AMG I think will also come along with the C36, but they made it more years and they made a lot more units. So I don't know if that's really going to gain the notoriety. BMW E34 M5s are shooting through the roof right now.
I'm not gonna lie. I think availability of the car is
Yeah.
not gonna affect cars as much
Right.
as it would with like, Duesenbergs or Ferraris or something. I had to, but no, I say that because 1 second here. I gotta use my phone now because the computer completely
fine.
crashed.
But as far as like, I don't know, Asian stuff, I'm not nearly as well connected as you.
I
are in
would-
that demographic.
I would say my entry level like Japanese nostalgia car actually, which is I write an entire series about this called Consider the Following.
Wow, I feel like somebody else had a series called Consider the Following.
Yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Excellent.
And that's what I named it after because more people should watch Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Sincerest form of flattery.
Yes, it is. I would say,
Theft.
yeah, exactly. Theft, the sincerest form of flattery. I think,
Thank
you
you,
know,
China.
this one I actually didn't use for Consider the Following. I got halfway through and I'm like, this car is pretty well considered.
Okay.
The AW11 MR2s.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna be a good entry
I would
car.
love to have an 88 supercharger.
Yeah, like those are even the NA ones are fantastic.
They are. But if
Um,
I was gonna have one to speculate on, it would be a supercharger.
but I think a car like I actually wrote this up. This is what the car that caused me to do Consider the Following, and it has had a lot to do with my whole automotive career.
yes.
It is a car that you don't go out of your way to get, but is actually a really cool car. I think would
Toyota
actually
Camry Coupe.
no, but it is a Camry, a V20 Camry, the
Okay. Yeah.
87 through 91 or something
Yep.
Camrys.
Or I think it's 90.
Yeah, it's 90 or 91. I can't remember. I wrote the
I
article
think
like
the
6
bubbly
months
one
ago.
started 91.
Yeah, but that one, because you can get a manual
And the
all-wheel
2.5.
drive, you get the 2.5 V6, you can get a manual V6 wagon, even the normal automatic
And that
four
one
cylinder.
VZ is an awesome engine.
Even the 5 SFE or the 3
There's a 3
SFE that was in
SFE,
it. Yeah,
yep.
there's a 3S that was in that.
But-
even the normal one's a
But
great engine.
The one VZ.
Yes, that's a great engine.
Woo!
That's a great
That
engine.
2.5 is a screamer. Thing is cool.
I personally, like, when I was writing the article, I found out I was like, because I always thought they were kind of cool.
Yeah.
Plus, they're front wheel drive, attainable. A lot of people get them as their first car.
A super clean wagon. One of those going down the road is
I
like,
was gonna say,
oh.
either want to get a manual V6 wagon, or I want to get a manual 3 SFE wagon and put a beam swap in it,
That'd be cool.
which would be fucking awesome.
Dude, yeah. the Euro 3S GTE, and that would be rad.
Randy, what would you select?
Yeah, what do you see as,
Yeah,
as
like-
coming an upcoming classic,
a car
but like an
that- a car
attainable
that-
gateway car?
Yeah, exactly. A car that you could get like a kid and be like, "This is how you get into classics," and they're like, "This is great."
See, my problem is that I go way back, and therefore, and usually it's a tiny to American car, but unfortunately, I will not go American. As in fact, I had a recent, I went to a recent event that Haggerty put together, and they were talking about, cars you should get right now to get into the classic car game, when they were pointing
Yeah.
to millennials, and of course, they were going through 240Z, Viper-powered Dodge Ram pickups.
That'd be a
I
cool
could
one.
see
Yeah.
that. A 240Z?
That
in a
one's-
millennial group?
That's already
Would
left.
you-
That boat
Yeah.
sailed years
yeah, that
ago.
boat
10 years
sailed
ago.
10 years ago, but then again, I think what
a
they're
Ram
saying...
SRT is interesting because you
That
could
is a-
spec that with a
yes.
6-speed.
You know what? I actually had 280Z still, like with the horrible fuel injection. Like that
the
probably
ZX you might. Well, nah.
no the ZX,
No.
the 280ZX
No.
actually.
Yeah.
I've been in one of those with properly set up suspension
Yeah.
with Coney adjustables and some springs, and the garbage fuel injection taken off.
I think
and
that car
3
is just
carbs.
a victim of what it was in between.
It
It's
was,
a lot
yeah.
like the BMW E21. It
Exactly.
came between the 2002 and the E30. It's a great car, but nobody gives a flying fuck because the car that came before it and the car that came after it were way better.
It's exactly that.
But keep in mind that all the stuff I'm talking about is what Haggerty is saying.
Yeah.
Now,
And most of the time I agree with the Haggerty, like they have like 4 classes of cars and how they
Exactly.
predict them and stuff like that, and then they have condition classes and value predictions. There's a couple of cars I don't think they really have a good grasp on.
and I agree with you.
For the
because
most
I
part,
think,
they're really good though.
Yeah, but I will say though is that I will agree with the Ram Ram Viper engined SRT10.
Yeah.
I mean that's very good.
That's actually
because-
kind of cool.
Because here's another thing we got to
Especially
be
if you can't tow with it.
mindful of is that now that SUVs have become the norm, and I know how much we love SUVs in this group.
No, Randy, it's not SUVs. It's a fucking crossover.
No, it's crossovers and SUVs are different. SUV is an off-road vehicle.
Yeah, okay.
SUVs are like LX 570s. Crossovers like Nissan Rogues.
Well,
and
anyhow,
Ford Explorers and
one half dozen or another,
Pathfinders.
but it's that.
Actually, you do bring up a good point because a lot of these people will their first car. Now,
Yeah.
I'm thinking more the generation after millennials, the next generation of because
Like
millennials
Zennials?
already Zennials or whatever you call them. I think you do have a point with that crossover, and I would say actually the first era of crossovers. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking the original CRV, the original RAV4, the original Forester, the Suzuki X90, which Jan is a fan of, another car we'll talk about.
We're
But-
doing the French car episode in 2 episodes, I think. So we'll
Yeah,
talk
so we're
about all
gonna have
that
an entire Jana weekend
Yep.
next week.
then. We'll get Jana in a
She'll
very
be
high microphone game.
She'll be very on the spot. But yeah, anyway, keep on going.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Because I was going to say, now that pickup trucks are settling in, we,
Yeah.
like again, we go back to the Dodge Ram SRT10 pickup. I will also throw in the Lightning. I will also throw in the 454
You're talking
SS.
second gen or first gen Lightning? The 351 Cleveland or the 5.4 supercharged?
I'm talking about the 5.4 supercharged,
Okay.
which, by the way, we're seeing a little bit more of than the other. And then there
I
was.
still like the 351 Cleveland.
I think the
I would
truck
agree.
is cooler.
I would
'cause
agree.
The 454 SS kind of slips through the cracks. That actually
That's
might be a
actually another good
collector
one.
truck,
Yeah,
too.
that's
Yeah.
a good truck. Yeah.
But then also you also have the GMC Typhoon, the
I-
GMC Cyclone.
those have totally
Cyclones have.
that one's-
Typhoons have
yeah.
not.
Really?
Yeah.
Get a
You
Typhoon
You can pick
now.
up a pretty nice Typhoon for $6,500.
Burger, you need to buy one now.
I know. I thought about it.
No, don't think about it. Just do it.
I found like a green one for $6,500.
Yeah.
It was like needed nothing.
Yeah.
Do it.
I
it.
I thought about it.
Do it.
Then I bought. And if the Boxster sells soon. Okay. All right.
Somebody
MotorCult
buy-
listeners.
yes.
You find me a buyer for my currently working perfectly 2000 Porsche Boxster S 6-speed for $8,000, and I'll go buy a Typhoon.
Yes,
There you
and
go.
if you do that, we will give you 2 MotorCult stickers, and I will give you a Japanese nostalgia car T-shirt of your choosing.
And I'll also give you a print error oval bore T-shirt because why not? I have to reorder.
All right. Anyway,
Sorry.
so that's where
you got to push through, Randy. We are.
Yeah, we
are
got to get
tangents.
going here. Yeah.
this is just how we do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about time.
Well, no,
keep us
I
on
still haven't
topic.
heard what your answer is.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically my answer. Is that I think the high performance pickups are
The-
going to be
the
that
trucks,
next wave,
yeah.
Okay.
but it's not going to be for everybody. Keep that in mind.
No, it's true.
Because it's
Do you
not going to
think-
be. But I do see values going up on those. It's just that I think awareness is probably the most important piece to bring these trucks out.
Do you think SUVs will be in there, like the first gen ML55, like the Trailblazer SS, the first gen
Ooh.
Grand Cherokee SRT8?
I think those will be. Yes.
I think first gen SRT8 Grand Cherokees will be in there. That's definite.
I think so too,
Count on
because
it.
most of them are beat to shit, and if you find like a nice clean one that's
Mhm.
unmolested, it'll
I
be
will
worth some
say
money.
the
I would agree.
Trailblazer SS will be
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
Same reason.
no, actually, if you ever go out street racing,
Yeah.
in your life, at some point, if you go out for one summer,
Yeah.
at some point you will come across a Trailblazer SS that goes out and just shits on everyone.
Yeah, it's probably rear wheel drive swap to the 4L80 because the 4L60 in those things grenades.
Yeah, and that's usually
it's
what they
actually a
are.
65.
But no, even though 4-wheel drive
Tucker will
ones,
kill me if I don't correct
yeah,
myself.
it's true. even the 4-wheel drive ones, because I mean, like
All-wheel
the thing, yeah, whatever.
There's a difference.
There is a
I
difference.
should talk about that in engineering, whatever.
Yeah, actually, you should. That there is a difference between the two, but it was a truck, and I just don't care that much.
No, I don't blame you.
I would actually say a vehicle I really want is a derivative of the Trailblazer SS, and that's the Saab 97X Aero,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
a Trailblazer
That
SS.
looks good.
It's a Trailblazer
Yes.
SS in a
Yeah.
architect's outfit,
Yeah.
and it is just perfect. I love it.
I'm going to throw a
The wheels
curveball
on
here.
those are so good.
I'm going to throw a curveball. And I
You
think we
only
should
throw
move on.
curveballs, Randy.
Anyway, if there's one car I'm hoping to God that will
There is no
become
God.
a classic, I know there isn't,
Okay,
but
all right, fine.
I gotta,
Do you see any Jesus fish in the studio?
Anyway, Randy,
what I'm
Please
saying.
power through.
Okay, the first gen Lexus ISF.
Okay.
yeah, that, I
This
can
is
What's
my
that
say.
terrible
curveball.
8-speed auto?
Here's your MotorCult sticker, by the way.
Thank
You earned
I'll
it.
put that somewhere.
Uh,
But that's my curveball, and I'll tell you why. Because
that would make sense.
F
yeah.
performance Lexus
didn't sell
would
very many
not
of those.
exist
Yeah.
because of this. Because you shove a 5-liter V8
Mm-hmm.
to about 400 and some odd horsepower into an IS, which is a pretty lightweight car, so forth.
By modern standards, I
By
suppose.
modern standards. So you throw the 8-speed
I like the
automatic.
fake exhaust tips.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, wait. When I said like, I meant hate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you-
I
you
hate
do.
the fake
I know
exhaust
you
tips.
do.
misspoke.
I know you do. And
Although
neither
it's
do
better
I.
than like the VW Atlas, where it literally, or the new SQ5 facelift, where it's got these like chrome tailpipe shaped things on the rear bumper, and it's got downturned mufflers behind the bumper
you know what
cover.
I think is going to be a car company that's going to kind of go the way of
No, Ryan. What?
GM,
Do tell.
Volkswagen Audi Group.
No way.
I really think that they're going to go the way of GM, where
Good.
GM to Gen Xers is really cool, but to
Yeah.
millennials, nobody can give a half a shit.
Yep.
And a lot of millennials are about
Weird.
Volkswagen Audi
I
Group.
wonder what happened to make all millennials think that. Because every single GM product, except for the few outliers we've talked about, are
Better
they've
get a
been total
Jetta.
shit.
Well, the thing is, with Volkswagen, I think it's happened for a different reason.
Really?
Because, well, General Motors has like gone out of their way to like make a lot of their cars atrocious in every way.
Yeah.
Volkswagen Audi Group, they've compromised their product a lot
Yeah.
with a lot of their cars.
But it's so
where-
inconsistent with how they compromise.
And well, that's the thing is like
You don't trust anything, even the good
you
stuff.
don't, because like the S series
Yeah.
used to mean something. Like that was like
It used to be
an
the M
S-
rival,
yeah,
and now it's like an M Sport
Yeah,
rival.
exactly. It's some
even
like weird like
BMW's at fault, too,
Well,
but-
they also have like the S line, so
Yep.
you get a normal A4 that looks like an S4. It doesn't really mean anything anymore.
No, it just means you get more badges.
And I think that another thing is a lot of people,
Badges.
even with the normal ones, where it used to be like you can get a 16 valve, Mark II GTI,
Yeah.
which is actually a dope car and pretty reliable.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
you could
very.
even get or you get like a VR6, which like was 200 horsepower in a Golf, and reliable ish for that era.
It was, yeah. I mean, those really didn't have a ton of problems when they were new. It's just the higher mileage ones where they start shedding
Exactly.
chain guides.
I think what's happening is now all the ones that people are going to want, like the 2OTs, because the 2OT, when you hear it on paper, unless you really know about that engine, sounds dope. And a lot of other 2OTs are great, like the Mercedes and the BMW and like a lot of other 2OTs
the
are
BMW one is also terrible.
okay. So
Not as bad, but terrible.
Yeah, but there's
60,000
a lot
mile
of
engine.
the whole 2-liter class turbo class engines usually
And
are
the
pretty
Benz
cool.
one's a 1.9.
And well, all right, so Subaru, Mitsubishi.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very popular engine
Yeah,
size for
that-
tax reasons in
Yeah,
other countries.
so like people hear the 2OT and they're like, that sounds really tight, and they're
Even
really
like the Hyundai Kia 2OT, that thing is super impressive.
yeah, exactly.
It is.
It's like 270 horsepower, and it's actually pretty reliable.
Only in the end, though. Only in the end models. But let me
Sonata
jump in a
Turbo?
little bit. What I'll tell you what really bugs me about Volkswagen Group and why it's so attractive. to
You only have
millennials.
one reason why it bugs you?
Yeah,
Well-
I got a laundry list.
Do you know how many people have these Mark IV Golfs?
Many.
If there's one car that ruins it all for everybody,
Yeah.
it's the Mark IV Golf.
I actually really like the Mark IV.
But you've seen how many people run through those things.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Well,
so that's the thing
I
is
think
like that's gonna happen to any cheap fun car.
Yeah. I think
So,
the
like-
Mark V is what's doing it.
Yeah, so the Mark IV is the last good one. The last really good one because
I think all the drivetrains in those were actually pretty
the
reliable.
Mark IV is like the EK Civic of Volkswagen.
yeah.
Because like the Mark 2, 3, and 4 were the ones to get if you wanted something that goes kind of quick.
Yep.
Kind of like the EF, the EG, and the EKs. The EFs you can still find, the EKs can still find. You never find an EG, and you never find a Mark III because everybody destroyed them.
Well, no. Mark III, it's because they rusted
Yes,
into the ground.
exactly.
Because they
Everybody,
were water-based paint.
yeah. But anyway, I see what you mean. I think that's going to turn a lot of people off. But in the same way that an Miata is going to turn a lot of people off, and the Bug Eye WRX is going to turn a lot of people off, and the the Lexus GS is going to turn a lot of people off because these are cars where a lot of people that don't really know what they're doing have picked them up for cheap and are just
Yeah.
ruining them.
That's true.
But that happens with everybody because
It does.
Right.
because when we were in school or when we were in high school, that was a lot of like Fox bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
That was right before everybody that was kind of the beginning of people like ruining EGs.
There weren't a lot of Civics in Edina.
Well, that was also Edina though.
know.
But I mean,
there were a lot of
if
like
in-
A6s. And,
yeah, but like those are a lot of hand-me-down cars.
Right. Lots of crossovers. Lots of
But the
Highlanders.
thing is like I think it's going to be whatever the cheapest version of a good car is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's just historically been like that because back in the 1960s there were people with 32 T buckets that are clapped out. So
Yep.
I mean that's just something that kind of it just goes with time.
You just there's a
I can't
certain,
fault the
there's
car.
a certain group of the production vehicles that are just they're gonna die. They're gonna take one for the team.
It's going to be
And
the best
you'll
car,
get-
the best value for any car.
Right. It is. I mean, even with BMW and stuff. I mean, it's always like the chassis you want, but with the lowest end engine and or transmission.
Exactly.
And those usually bear the brunt of the retards.
The E30s. The
And the
E30 325i
and
just got
36s.
annihilated. And the
Actually-
E36.
Actually, 36 was all of them. Even
Yeah,
M3's
every
got
single-
in there 'cause
yeah,
they got
every
cheap enough.
single-
46s, it's almost always the 23s and 25s. You
well,
don't
the
see a
thing is
lot of
that the
330s.
E36 was kind of like that. It is the 280ZX of M3s.
It was.
It was
And
not
the
as
fact
good as the
in
E30.
this country.
Yeah.
Because the U.S. market was the only one to get that detuned, completely different engine.
Yeah.
And the smaller diff, and it's still a really capable, excellent car. But because they're the neutered ones that nobody wants, they got to $1,500, and they got into the hands of these idiots that just completely ruined them, which was great
And
for me
probably-
because I got tons of parts cars for cheap,
Yeah.
and those engines are fabulous. But
It's kind of like the thing where like anybody says, "Oh, I'm gonna put a V8 into it, not LS, but like a Fox body or like a small block Chevy engine."
Oh.
like for a rear-wheel drive car, like once you get to that point, that's gonna be the death of that chassis because that means a lot of people are gonna be doing
is this
that.
a 318?
I don't know. I was
four-door?
just saying. Well,
With a
I
302?
guess that'd be an example of
automatic?
one. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That'd be a good example one. But I mean, like, it really
That
is.
one's really slow.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, engines that you could put in that are just gonna totally destroy a car. And once
Right.
you get to that point, it just kills the car. Also, makes that car a future classic.
Wow. And on that
Because-
note,
yeah.
I just looked at the topic we were talking about, and then okay, yeah, let's
Yeah, well, we have
next
left.
one.
All right,
Honda
next
Monkey
one.
Super Cub.
Yes, Honda's actually bringing back the Honda Monkey and the Super Cub, which are really cool. We've not gotten the Monkey since I think like 1974 or something.
Oh,
It's
my.
been in consistent production since then, though.
Jesus.
Like it's been a while, and like the Honda Cub, like I can't remember last time we got them, but
I have no idea.
the Honda Super Cub is the best-selling vehicle of all time.
Period.
Period.
And that's saying something. 'Cause
Like,
there
if
have been
you-
a lot of things that have moved a bunch of units.
If you combined every single Corolla, every single Civic, or not, every single Corolla, every single every single F-150,
Oh, I was going to say, it's got to
Yeah.
be the F-150.
and every single Volkswagen Type 1, you come about 2/3 of the total number of Honda Super Cubs ever sold. It's just an insane amount of
That is a very
mopeds.
large number.
Anyway, they have a modernized version of it.
That's pretty cool.
What's hilarious is they both have the same size, like chassis,
yeah.
but now instead of a 50cc 4-stroke or 2-stroke,
Probably a 49cc.
49cc 2-stroke, they now have a 125cc 4-stroke single from
That's
the Honda
a really
Grom.
good engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the
This
the
is in the Grom,
scooter,
yeah.
too. It's
Metropolitan?
Nope.
No, it's not. 'cause
The
it's
more
a
Bush one.
The Ruckus?
Zuma.
Oh, no, it's a Yamaha, dude. The Zuma?
Oh, yeah. You're
Yeah,
right.
because-
I'm thinking of, it's in the Ruckus.
No, the Ruckus has a smaller engine.
I thought they had a bigger model of the Ruckus now, too.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't
Okay,
know.
never
I haven't looked through the Honda.
Anyway,
moped
it's a
line.
good engine. I think
Yeah,
it's fuel
it's-
injected twin cam and
It's
four valve.
it's pretty tight. Like I'm really
big
excited for
70.
it. Well, the thing is they're like higher performance engines. Like
Mm-hmm.
because of the Grom, there's a tuning community for it. So I really want to see somebody tune up a Honda Monkey and do wheelies with it. Because you ever seen somebody on a Honda Monkey?
Is it a transmission or is it a CVT?
It is this Honda Monkey has a manual transmission.
Heck yeah, buddy.
The Super Cub is actually it's not a CVT. It's an automatically assisted manual. So it's a manual with automatic clutch, which it's always been, because that's been a mobility vehicle.
Gross.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that's a vehicle that was designed to get people in Vietnam like on the road.
Also, did you know that one of the first products that Honda sold in the United States way back when was a Honda Cub?
Yeah, that's true.
So this
That's
is
in
sort
the
of a return back to the beginning. So
I think it really it's really representative of where Honda's at as a company right now as well, because Honda
absolutely.
they've spent the last probably 15 years following the route of Toyota, making appliances, and now they're back to actually making fun vehicles, which I'm excited for.
Good. Let's hope to stay on that track.
Yes. Hey, let's talk about that
Yeah,
Patreon.
yeah. Well, since you guys were talking about motorcycles, I decided I'm going to expand because we've had this on the docket for quite
Yes.
some time. Our Patreon topic this week is plain and simply called motorcycles. And I want to talk about our favorites, which ones of those we would ride regularly,
Honda
and then
CBX.
our general opinions on a list also. So, our favorite style of bike. What is it? Can be anything. Can be a 49cc scooter. It can be a ultra mega glide, whatever.
Can it be a custom style?
Sure.
Bosuzoku bike.
Okay, fine. Good. Randy?
Well, I'm a Kawasaki guy, so of course I got excited about over the old 750s and then went to GPZ 550, which I fell off the back of one. But then everybody that had a 550 back in the 80s turned them into a Ninja. So I don't have a style of motorcycle because I don't ride.
Okay.
But I really respect those who ride in two wheels and don't get themselves killed. So hey.
Yeah, that's a skill. For me, it's just going to be something that looks like a scooter and isn't, like my Vespa.
Yeah, that is
I can
another
park
good
it
one.
in a scooter spot and it'll do 100.
My thing is, I'm not much of a motorcycle guy. I appreciate the weird and obscure.
Yeah.
Bosuzoku bikes I really like because Bosuzoku culture I think is just endlessly fascinating.
I think it would work pretty well with a bike, too.
Well, no, I mean that's where it came from. Is originally a motorcycle thing that went to a car thing.
Oh, I see.
Because Bosuzoku gangs were originally kind of like enforcers for the Yakuza, and what they do is they'd have these like ridiculous looking bikes covered in lights that look like comical with like ridiculous looking fairings on them, and they would have like exhaust coming basically off the engine with no muffler or anything, and they'd be designed so if they're gonna be caught like basically extorting a shop or something, they go in front of the shop and they make a ton of noise.
Causing a ruckus.
Yeah, it disorients everything. So that's kind of why I think both Suzuki's are cool. I also really like Royal Enfields.
How old are those?
They still make them.
Okay, good.
They're in
When
production.
did they go into production?
Late 40s, early 50s.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I just had to make sure.
No, it wasn't a Bruff Superior, which is a pre-war bike.
Oh, you.
Which also, the Bruff Superior, I would say, is my favorite bike of any single bike. Bruff Superiors are awesome. They kill Lawrence of Arabia, and they have no brakes at all.
I hate you so much. All right, Randy already said he's a Kawasaki guy.
Brands?
Yep.
I think I would say my favorite brand's Royal Enfield, but I also like Kawasaki because I love their story.
Okay.
Actually, though, let me add to Kawasaki. I appreciate BMWs. I also appreciate Triumphs. I appreciate a lot of different brands. Some brands I really can't stand, and maybe
Harley.
Well,
I can't stand Harleys.
Fuck Harley
Indian,
Davidson.
Polaris. You
Yeah.
know, all the Polaris-owned brands.
You don't like American bikes, basically.
Not really.
I'm just gonna. It's gonna shock you both, but BMW.
Shocking.
Yep.
Oh, please.
I also do like Hondas, too.
All right, so a place for bikes, a usage case for them. Like, why would you own one? And there's a couple of primers in here. Is like, would you commute with it? Would you road trip it? Would you track it? Would you just use it for occasional like parking reasons?
I would probably very rarely use it and use it just to have an awesome collection of motorcycles that I find unique and interesting.
Okay.
Cool, burgers away, so I get to cut
What about you, Randy? And expand because I have to go to switch my beer out.
All right, sounds good. Actually, it'd probably be more like a weekend go. I can tell you, one of my PR friends, she has a Harley, and she takes it only on the weekend. She wouldn't commute.
We're gonna review that next time. Don't do that one. You already did it. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I would probably do it more of a weekender type of thing.
Okay. I mean, am I the only one here that actually owns a bike?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason why I own it is so I can park it anywhere. I use it like twice a year, and I use it for the Minnesota State Fair. Because parking is like $25 in somebody's shitty yard, and like with a bike, you can just street park it right in between two cars.
There was one bike I think we should all talk about. It's the
What?
Honda CBX.
Oh, CBX 1000.
The CBX 1000 is the best sounding motorcycle of all time.
I agree.
Yeah, that's
we
a
were watching
really,
videos
really
on
cool
it.
bike.
Last week.
The straight six carbureted motorcycle, which carburetors suck, I get it, but it's still a straight six, and it revs to the moon. It's
yeah,
so tight.
it revs higher than the modern BMW straight six one.
Yeah,
does.
it's like a 9,000 RPM redline. It's
9,500.
pretty
Yeah.
sick.
It,
I love
it
that a
does,
lot.
man. We were watching videos of slightly modified ones with pipes on them, and it sounded like 80s Le Mans in like this rural street of God knows where.
Of like,
Oh.
yeah, of like Eastern Europe. They're just
You know,
ruining the
I don't know if I'd
countryside.
rather have a CBX or a Typhoon.
I'd say Typhoon because I know it's going to go up in value. The CBX is forever going to stay the same because motorcycle people do not like them.
Why don't they like them?
Because they're terrible to ride.
I'm sure they're horrible. To ride. They are extremely wide.
They're very wide and they can't handle for shit. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how motorcycle people
Next
like
up, I want to talk about. We'll call it. It says cultural aspects, but like when you see a particular type of bike, what do you think? So I've got examples in here that I put in. Gixxers, GSXRs, no helmets. They're squids. They're idiots.
No
Harleys,
helmets. I think
Stupid
of
people.
people that are really into like DMX ride like Gixxers and stuff.
Yeah, but they wear no helmets.
Yeah, and they always have like a Rough Riders logo on the back of their bike or vest.
Oh yeah, leathers. I
Yeah.
mean, leathers are. You always
Harley
should wear
David,
that. but-
Harleys. I always think of douchebags. I think of 93X, and I think of people that have chin strap beards and spiky hair.
I've never once seen an attractive woman on the back of a Harley either.
I've
Just
seen
gonna say
like
that.
2 in my life, but it's like they're attractive on paper, but then you kind of see them, they're still kind of trashy.
They might be damaged in other ways.
Like like when you see the hottest chick in the trailer park,
Yeah.
we're like, whoa, she's kind of hot, but like she feeds herself exclusively off Velveeta,
Oh.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to throw this in because we did talk about a magazine I write for and a culture I belong
Is it
to.
lavender?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
there are a lot of LGBT bikers.
But as a matter of fact,
Oh.
you go to any town, you go to any city that has a LGBT pride parade, the first contingent always
bikers.
is the, now I'm going to be very clean, the women's motorcycle contingent, i.e. Dykes on Bikes. Which means
What are they riding, Randy?
the thing is that's the funny part, because I've seen them ride mostly Harleys, but every time I go through the contingent, any city, there's Harleys, there's Hondas, there's Yamahas, there's what's that?
Are there any CBX 1000s or
I have
Piaggio
never-
Vespas?
I've
I'm
never
sure-
seen one ever. Any of those?
It's always like the hyper masculine bikes. It's
It's
like
a hypermass.
that's
Exactly.
the thing is like a lot of people think like they
No
look
crotch
at
rockets either.
yeah well no that's
No.
the thing it's
Oh,
always
yeah.
Harley. It's like it's the most hyper masculine thing that it becomes like the
I
LGBT
bet they just
bike,
like the
yeah.
vibrations of the Harley, honestly. That sounds really insensitive.
We could do jokes on that, but I'm not. Anyway,
Actually,
Well,
I
that said Dykes on
but
Bikes.
before we're done with this, I do want to touch on car culture and
yes,
LGBT.
absolutely.
Because that's kind of why we're doing this, and we'll have you stick around for the next one since we don't have a guest next time. And
If he has
Yes.
time, certainly.
yeah,
I have plenty of time. Come
it's
on,
Randy. It's a Saturday. He doesn't have anything to do.
Perfect.
He's an automotive journalist.
For
His
some
job
reason, you
is to
clapping
drive
made
around.
the camera refocus.
I apologize to you, Nick, for that. Now we know what kind of camera you bought.
All right, let's bust through.
A
Let's bust
very
through.
intolerant one.
Let's bust through some of these other bike styles.
All right,
and give
I'll
her
just
quick,
blast through the last
yeah,
of this one
or
real quick.
quick
Historic
stereotypes.
models, the CBX 1000. Present models, the BMW K1600. Modifications, pipes.
One second. K1600s are always like a teacher or somebody very
Don't care.
boring
They have a
on
straight
it.
6. Don't care.
No, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like that's
Good, yeah.
that's I think
Great.
anyway.
Perfect. Which one would you ride regularly? CBX 1000. What do you think of Harleys? Those are dumb.
Yep,
Scooters,
love them. I prefer them. That's the best
just
version of a bike.
49s or big ones too?
I like the ones that come with a 49 and you can put anything you want into it. Because the point of it is you don't need a license.
So the answer of your question is anything titled as a 49cc.
Exactly.
Can I
Sounds
roll back
good.
a little bit and answer some of these for you here? Because I kind of missing because
Yes.
historic models, Honda 750 or CB or
My dad had a
GPZ
750.
classic 70s one.
Yeah. He's
Not
from
really
that era,
historic.
so
Of course, I'm going to say GPZ 550.
I mean it
on
was
the-
new at the time.
present models. I'm an old guy, so
K1600.
I'm actually interested in a new Goldwing for some odd crazy reason.
You sound like Tucker.
All
I
right,
know.
people with Honda Goldwings, it's always an old guy with a helmet with a microphone in it.
I'm almost there.
Anyway, I will say historic models. Those
Please
ones
don't
are
say
the
that right now. Yeah.
those are the ones I think are anybody that can ride a historic bike, like a real historic one,
Yeah.
like a Vincent Black Shadow or a Bruff Superior.
If they are dressed accordingly.
Well, even if they're not, like
No.
if you have the balls,
if you're,
what do you want to say?
if you're dressed accordingly.
If you have the balls,
If you're in an
To
Adidas
ride.
tracksuit and you're riding a Black Shadow, I don't care.
if you're riding a Bruff Superior at all, you have the balls to ride a motorcycle with no brakes. You're a man.
And you probably have to set
also,
timing and
wood plank track racers. Those are Those are the coolest bikes, historically.
coolest tracks. I don't care
Okay.
about the bikes.
All right, so mods, skip. Would I ride one rarely? No. What do I think of Harleys? I can't say anything because a former guy I used to deal with at General Motors is there at corporate communications. So I'll shut up. Scooters.
I hate Harleys.
Thank you. You're the only person here that's not.
If anyone at Harley Davidson wants to join us on the podcast, fuck off.
And
Yes,
on that note,
that is true.
And on that note, scooters.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know because I think the law here in Minnesota is that you're
it's
able
40 NCC.
exactly. So it's
No
49 and
insurance.
below.
Yeah.
No insurance. I get away with that. It's like getting away with murder. But but it's fun.
Getting away with murder's fun. You heard it here first, folks.
Yes.
not in that way. Man.
Loud pipes.
Save
yes.
lives.
Yes, I'm a fan of them.
May as well.
Honestly, there are times where I've seen a motorcycle splitting lanes or something, and I've not noticed
Which
them.
is not legal in the state of Minnesota.
California. I was
It
thinking
is
of
perfectly
actually,
legal in
but
California.
I've not noticed them except for the noise.
Yes.
Because a lot of motorcycles, their single headlight will blend in with the passenger side
Yeah.
headlight of the car in your rearview mirror.
People, I mean, I agree. The pipes are a good
Yeah,
idea.
I am
People are
100%.
still stupid, though. I mean, well, I had my CBR 600RR back in the day, and that
That's
had
a cool bike.
full Yoshi exhaust on it,
Oh,
headers
yeah.
to the tip. It was loud. And you know how many times I still almost got creamed by somebody moving over, not
Yeah.
looking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It-
yeah,
it helps.
anything you can do. Another reason I'm a fan of both Suzuki bikes, they're more obnoxious, more loud, and brighter. They're made to be seen. And I think every single motorcyclist.
The only
should-
downside to that is your 4-foot long exhaust pipe is much easier to clip on a passing vehicle or something like that.
It goes up,
Fine.
but still.
Than flooding the engine with rainwater.
Nope, because you can put a ball at the end of
I
it.
would just drill a small hole in the bottom of the pipe and call it good.
But yeah, no, there's something to be said for both Suzuki bikes and actually for safety.
I kind of agree.
So, what is that hissing noise?
What is that noise?
Is that real?
Oh, the water softener is regenerating.
Oh,
Great.
okay. All right. Anyway,
Crotch rockets.
I think that a lot of douchey people own them.
I've owned many of them, and I no longer do.
Yeah, because of douchey people.
No, they're just not that good to ride. They're
Yeah.
really
No.
uncomfortable, and I'm scared by them.
No.
Like I don't know.
They're
It's
way too fast.
they're. I don't know. It really depends on the person, because I know some people with crotch rockets that genuinely like them,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people are just douchey with them. I will say, the person that has a carbureted crotch rocket, even though it's worse in literally every way and
Yeah.
much slower, those people usually are enthusiasts and
I
not
liked
just
mine.
bros.
My first crotch rocket was a 91 ZX9R with carbs. It was great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is a lot of people like that are just douchey about bikes make they make fun of crotch rockets with carbs. Also, they're very cheap
Yes.
and they're just depreciating endlessly because they just kind of suck.
Great engine swap candidate.
However, yes, that is true. Anyway, can we be done with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I want to talk about Mazda.
Okay.
We
Of course.
we preempted that. I put this one on because you're a reviewer and you're going to probably drive one at some point.
I hope.
I put something away at the end I want to talk about. But
Yeah.
you do the full topic, and mine's going to be quick.
So the Mazda Miata, they did a power bump on it. It was actually reported. They did not officially release it, but it was reported by a Japanese outlet, and then some NHTSA documents said that we're getting this engine as well, which is
Nice.
great reporting on behalf of. I think it was actually NBC Drive. I could be wrong, but whoever
Wow.
actually reported that is a great reporter. Props to you.
Sell your existing ND now.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, it gets a power bump, it gets a higher red line, and a telescoping steering wheel.
I like
Power-
telescoping. It was fine.
the power comes from a larger exhaust valve, different exhaust manifold, and a freer flowing muffler. There's a 26-gram weight loss in rotating mass,
Damn.
despite having the larger exhaust valve, which is really tight.
They must have made it out of something
That
fancy,
makes for a 700 RPM higher red line.
which is 7,500 RPM.
Yes, that's
which
true.
is pretty excellent.
That puts you now with a modern vehicle in range of the AW11 MR2, which the reason I love that is it revs to the moon.
Yep.
And it gives you 26 horsepower.
That is significant.
That's a massive bump because you know how people like lost their shit when Subaru gave the STI a 5 horsepower bump.
People lost
yeah.
their shit in anger because they didn't actually do a proper power bump.
Well, no, the STI, it's fine.
I understand.
But I mean, that people got happy about that. Anytime you do more power, that's a good thing without
It is.
increasing weight.
But I mean, I just want to talk about like that was like 150 something horsepower engine, and they added 26 horsepower to
I know.
it.
It's insane. They add like 11% more power. It's fantastic.
That DI system has to be like the neck. It's just got to be strangled. I mean, Flying Miata's been doing turbo and superchargers for the ND.
Yeah.
The fuel system maxes out at 200 horsepower.
I imagine they probably did some additional.
I would have to
Fuel
hope
stuff.
that they did, because
But-
that will make it even better for supercharging and turbocharging.
Well, you're acting like you can't just like buy some injectors over the counter and just put them in.
You can't. It's
See, no
DI.
See,
okay.
sorry. Yep. Anyway, no matter how you
I
slice
think Randy just puked in his mouth.
anyway, okay.
Anyway.
Okay, we can edit that out.
We don't
no.
edit anything ever.
Oh crap. No matter how you slice it, is that any improvement to the ND Miata is going to be beneficial for not only enthusiasts who follow that particular vehicle from NA up, but for new customers. Because the thing is that why are people that are not Mazda folk straying away from Miata? Is it because of 155 horsepower? Well, of course we are. The argument would be, okay, power to weight ratio.
Well, it depends on if they get their news from Consumer Reports. That's telling them that it's bad for a weekend getaway because of storage space.
And to my friends over at CR, I apologize for that particular comment.
Well, no.
Anyway,
This is
They should not be reviewing sports cars.
I have no intention of ever writing for Consumer Reports. So I feel like
neither would I,
yeah.
but
I don't really know anybody that works there.
But hey, if they hire me, I'm good.
Well,
if you hire Randy to prove us wrong, go for it.
This is the thing with Consumer Reports, is they look at the car as a widget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
issue. Because a lot of people, even when as a car salesman, they would go in with all these Consumer Reports, but when they go on the test drive, it is no longer a widget. They consider it a widget until they look at it.
Right. It's not a generic interchangeable good.
A car is a widget to the same level that a computer or a phone is a widget. Like, this is something that you're dealing with for an extensive period of time every day. It's not something where you grab a beer out of it.
Right. See, that's what frustrates me, is that people don't take the Miata seriously, and the 124,
I'm going to buy one of those.
which I'm happy that you will, because it's a completely different engine, by the way. So, but everything else is pretty
I'm
much.
going to talk
Miata.
about that at the end of Ryan's story here.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
sorry.
also got one more thing to add to this.
Yeah, I want to
too,
jump
so.
to that too, but let's as of right now, and this is coming from me. Consider the Miata as real as everything, because look, we've had roadsters for decades. This is when they brought it back in '89 for 90. They finally nailed the formula.
They got it right, yeah.
They got it right. Now we're 4 generations ahead.
Yep.
They still have it right.
Yeah, they've never gotten it wrong.
The-
I mean, the NB was
Right.
kind of It's an evolution of the
The
NA
N-
with a
the
better
N-
engine.
Yeah.
But
The
now-
NC was heavy but way powerful and had a folding hardtop. The ND is just amazing.
yeah.
But now you have an opportunity to try to prove a lot of Hemin and Han enthusiasts that have walked away from that wrong. So you put them in this next 19 ND, and I'm not going to confirm or deny whether this is going to happen, but I could tell you if I try to talk to someone from Mazda North American operations, they probably wouldn't deny it. The point being is that with all these numbers and these enhancements, this Miata is going to bring in more customers.
Yes, it will.
Especially if the price
and
is
it
the
has
same,
to.
which I'm guessing it,
It
will
will
be.
be.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the price differential is within, say, a couple of $100s, which means it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
another thing, I mean, the Miata is pretty affordable, too.
Yeah, it is. It's actually a very
It's
reasonably priced vehicle.
like, if you want to get a fun car and
Yeah.
you're looking to buy new, the Miata's the way to go right now.
Well, I mean, I would personally take a 124, but it's the same fucking.
Well, the 124 of the Miata, I should say, or the Abarth. But you actually have,
Well,
you
the
have.
Abarth is a lot more expensive.
I was thinking about the 500 Abarth, but you actually,
okay.
an enthusiast today finally has options, which is really nice. They're not Japanese, which bothers me.
Even a Toyota
but
86. I mean,
yeah.
there's so many good.
The thing is,
budget
the
enthusiast
8.6,
cars.
that is a car. That's a great car. And
It is.
every single person that's ever talked shit about an 8.6 or a BRZ has never driven one. I
Exactly.
can guarantee you.
Yep.
Because I've driven multiple BRZs back to back with STIs and WRXs of all generations.
Yep.
And I will say that the BRZ is my favorite Subaru ever
Yeah,
made.
because it's rear-wheel drive and awesome.
No, not even.
Yes.
No, my reason, because I'm more okay with all-wheel drive than you.
I hate all-wheel drive.
I know you do.
Okay, good.
But I'm talking about my personal belief. Like,
it's fine.
I prefer it because you actually have throttle response, which is a whole
Yep.
new thing.
Yeah.
There's never been a Subaru throttle response ever.
Because the non-turbo ones back in the day had such bad injection that they
They're
still didn't
just
have top
terrible.
response.
But no, it's honestly it's a throttle response.
Oh man.
It's the fact that it's a momentum car.
Yeah.
And it's one of those cars.
It's a slow car. Fast.
Subaru's always been able to make a chassis that can outhandle most other cars. But you
It's
have to do.
totally a Toyota chassis though.
I know, but as I say,
Okay.
the thing is that you've always needed to do work to get
It's an
it to that point.
FT86, Randy.
It is true. Subaru only did make the engine, but the thing is, with that car, from the factory, without having to do anything, you now have a Subaru
Yeah.
that makes you a better driver.
Yeah.
That you don't just rely on being able to hang the ass out on it.
It's a
like
fabulous
that's
car.
that
I
is
love
the
it.
best part of that car. I love that so much,
It
and
is.
I really want one.
It's a fully usable fun car.
and I will agree with all of you guys' point. The most important piece that people forget about the 86/BRZ, again, goes back to the Miata. Power to weight ratio.
Yes.
Excuse me. And I think the people go, well, it's only got 200 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque.
Dude, I blow my wad over 200 horsepower because I'm into old cars.
Right. But
And
the
even
point,
when you drive, I'm like, yeah, it's got the torque tip, but like, it is plenty of power. It
Yeah.
is plenty of power.
the key to this is that you leather it, okay? You get into the throttle. And regardless of transmission, whether it's the manual or the automatic.
No, it's got to be the manual.
It's
Well,
got to be the
for you
manual.
guys,
No, it
manual-
No,
does.
it really does. That auto is
I've
really
driven
not
both.
great.
Yeah.
And the auto is 70% of a manual.
You really do
BRZ.
need 230 horsepower with that auto.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's number one. I mean, I would agree. I would like more horsepower with the automatic. However, here's the thing, is that if you're a good driver and you can hear the revs and you
Yeah.
could work with that transmission, is throw it in the sport or throw it into the manual
If you're
mode.
a good driver, you're not buying the auto.
The
Well, that's
auto's
true.
Unless
Yeah, I
you
would
stepped
agree.
on a landmine.
The
Okay.
auto
Well, if you're a good
exists
driver
to get
and you
more
don't
people
drive
into
manual.
them.
Yeah, which I'm
And
fine with.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
More
I'm not
chassis
mad
to
about
put
it.
LSs into
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
My thing is though with the BRZ and
The Toyo Baru GT
yeah.
V86.
and that Toyota 86, that car's only issue is marketing,
Yeah,
Agreed.
and they need to do a power bump, like a real power
They do.
bump like this.
it wouldn't take
For-
much.
No, it's a great engine, and everybody on Earth has proved that you can turbo these.
Oh, dude, even NA, like the people that throw us out headers and a tune on them, the torque
Yeah.
tip goes away and they get like 15 horsepower.
Exactly.
That's
Like,
perfect. Make the stock car that.
yeah, like that's something that they really, really should do. It's the thing is, I don't care. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Even if it totally unbalances the car, put an STI engine into it. It does bolt in, or a WRX engine.
I was gonna say, please put a Rex motor in
Well,
it. 'cause
either one, I don't
I prefer
care.
the FA to the EJ.
Yeah, we do, but I'm talking about just like bro yabos that like look at like, oh, EJ bro, and like yeah. So
it's only a matter of time till the STI gets an FA based engine.
it'll probably be next generation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because the EJ they just kind of kept in as a holdover just to
Right.
keep people happy.
Right.
But no, like put in the FA, or it's actually the FB because the FA is already in it.
Okay.
But yeah, FB20 would be in that car would be perfect, and that's going to solve that car's only issue, which is purely marketing.
Yep.
Anything else would work because I mean,
The Miata has the same issue. I haven't seen a single ad for a Miata ever. The
Well-
Fiat 124 I actually do see ads for, probably because it knows I'm actually shopping for one.
yeah. Well, I mean,
But-
I've seen some Mazda ads, and Mazda they're busy hyping the rest of their cars because they don't need to help the Miata.
Right.
The
I mean,
Miata is like the poster child.
They
right
have
now.
realistic expectations for units moved on that thing as well,
Yeah,
which helps.
but Subaru, Toyota, one of them.
they still
has-
sell a ton of 86s though.
Not up here, and that's kind of the issue. But
But in the United States, they still sell like 30,000 a year.
yeah, it's pretty good numbers.
is
Those are
pretty
pretty good
good.
for what that is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, well, I think if they did better marketing, if they gave it the power bump, it would outsell the Miata because nobody really cares about convertibles except
does
for
it,
me.
Does it not already?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, no, because nobody except for me and you care about convertibles
Oh,
in
I
our
love
generation.
convertible. I could
They're
never
great.
not have a convertible.
They're great cars.
For the record, I'm selling the Boxster S, but I still have the Ferrari until I buy the 124.
Exactly. So you still have your convertibles.
So don't send me hate mail.
But
Actually, fuck it.
the
Send me
thing-
hate
the
mail.
thing-
I don't
the
care.
thing is like most millennials care more about performance figures and stuff, and the fact that you have a 2+2 is actually really nice.
Yes.
Anyway, I think
Just like the Nissan Murano Cross Cab.
I'm happy about the Miata. I'm
Talk
happy
about the telescoping steering wheel.
I don't care.
Okay, fine.
It's for people. It's for
That's for
now
Consumer Reports buyers.
Yeah, T-Rex can now buy Tyrannosaurus Rex can now buy a Miata. Good for you. Anyway,
Excellent. All right.
Um,
So now that that's off, the only topic we got left is not even a topic. It's our segment, Interesting Engineering.
yes,
And this,
you get to do this
is
one.
debatably interesting, but I think it's cool. So you guys know that the vehicle you drive has brake calipers on it, right? If you have disc brakes,
Yes.
assuming you're not pre-war and have four-wheel drums.
They had four-wheel drums into the 80s in Volkswagen.
They did in a lot of cars, unfortunately. But for
Volkswagen
the sake
Type
of this
1s.
argument, I'm going to talk about whatever. I'm going to talk about brake calipers. The vast majority of vehicles, cars, trucks have sliding calipers. So it's got these hydraulic pistons on one side of it, and then it free floats on a mechanism. So it just has force on one side, and it's free floating with some metallic sliders, so it can put the pressure evenly between two pads. A lot of performance cars and a lot of older cars with early disc brakes, they didn't know how to do that. So they had multiple pistons on both sides, or potentially even just one on each side. But what we're seeing on a lot of really modern cars like Porsches, and specifically I want to talk about that stupid Lamborghini SUV, because this is a good example.
The Lamborghini Anus?
The Anus, correct. Yep, the Anus. That thing has the first ever production 10-piston calipers on it.
Don't care.
And it's like saying more is better always. The reason why they did it is because they're actually progressively sizing the bore and depth of each piston on this thing to put a greater pad force at the beginning of where the pad makes contact to the disc. So if you're moving forward, you have forward rotation, which is going to be counterclockwise on the left side of the vehicle, and the caliper is on the back side. It's a trailing caliper. You're going to have the biggest pistons on the bottom of the caliper. So where the disc is first coming into contact with the pad in the road, Ryan's falling asleep for the record, which I don't really blame him. It's got a larger piston, and as the rotation progresses, I hope you're watching the video because it's actually pretty great. So anyway, the piston is the biggest at the beginning because it needs the most force there, which you'll see a lot of times on a sliding caliper in a performance car is the pad will actually wear diagonally because the force can't be put on evenly.
That is a common problem with large caliper.
So what they're solving here is just making the pads wear evenly with that many pistons. I think personally the best number of pistons is 4. Just get or a good single slider is fine.
This is the brake equivalent of the V16 engine.
V16.
Cadillac V16.
Oh yeah,
pre-ordered
yes,
them.
yeah.
But this is
you.
the brake equivalent of it. Let's just keep adding pistons. Let's just not make it better. Just make it.
Yeah,
better.
like let's not make it more volumetrically efficient or anything like that. Let's just make more.
It's just it's a numbers game.
Oh, it's also how
that's
like
what a crossover is. It's just a numbers
8.1
game.
liters. Yeah, 8.3, 8.4, 8.6. That's fine. How do we need more horsepower? Let's just add
That's
displacement.
a beautiful thing. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
So
Big,
where do you
stupid
draw the line?
Uh,
I think the 10-piston caliper is cool, but I would never want to own a vehicle
the
with that.
thing is, though,
Stupid
the
anus.
line is drawn at how much bullshit do you want to go through? Because I'm willing to go through. I would totally be willing to go through the 16-cylinder bullshit just to have a 16-cylinder.
I want a straight 8.
But I don't want. Yeah, exactly. Those are cool. I want 2 straight 8s and
I don't.
sharing a
I
block.
just want a straight 8.
But the that's some of your interesting engineering. I think for the next one, I'll take care of that one.
Straight 8.
I
V16.
think I'm not willing to deal with
gonna add it now.
ridiculous brakes. Yeah, we'll do straight 8, and I'll talk about it and why they don't exist anymore.
Okay.
But yeah,
I have some info.
I think that would be just knowing that there's a better option for brakes.
Just automatically assuming that more is better just makes me sad. It's saying you can put something on paper saying that mine is better.
I go
It's a
into
dick measuring contest.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And if you drive a Lamborghini Anus, you have a tiny dick.
Yeah, and
or no dick.
And a lot of money to pay for the replacements of the pads and any brake service for that Anus.
Which is good because it's probably really heavy, and it also doesn't have a V12.
My
so
thing
it's
is,
not
I go into wanting a V16 knowing that they suck,
okay.
and that's just the fact of life.
Dude, that's fine. It's
Yeah.
interesting because it sucks.
Exactly.
It's fine.
All right, I think on that bombshell, going into something ridiculous, knowing that it sucks is better than
Because it sucks.
because it sucks.
Yes.
Is actually interesting engineering.
It is. That's why
There
we
we
love
go.
the Nissan Cross Cab.
There we go. I do not like that car.
I love that
Goodbye.
thing. Bye.